Harold, our Hornbill by Ruskin Bond. A Hornbill called Harold is a short story by Ruskin Bond. This story is often covered in the Grandfather's Private Zoo series. Ruskin Bond's grandfather is an animal lover and is in the habit of keeping a collection of animals and birds at his home. Harold was the name of a hornbill bird. The bird has, in particular, a long beak. Now let's listen to the story. Harold's mother, like many other hornbills, was a careful and obedient wife, and his father too was an easygoing person. In the month of January, when the flame tree was about to burst into red blossom, Harold's father took his wife to a hole in the trunk of that tree. Taking their wives to that tree was a kind of tradition followed by hornbills generation after generation. Harold's father had shut his wife in that hole and covered the hole from outside with mud, sticks, and dung. Then he kept a tiny hole in it for chatting and breathing. Soon Harold was born. As he grew bigger in size, space for two birds became short. Thus, his mother broke away the whole protecting shield and came out on the branches. Harold was happy at his place as he got food from his parents from time to time. Well, one day, a villainous civet cat attacked the hole to grab little Harold. Harold's parents attacked the cat boisterously, but in the process, poor little Harold fell down from the tree in the garden of grandfather. Young Ruskin and his grandpa took Harold and made a large wooden cage for it in the veranda. There he got food on time and sunlight, and the air was abundant. Soon the hornbill called Harold became acquainted with Ruskin and Grandpa. Harold had a long beak, and whenever food was offered to him, he would toss it in the air before gulping it down in his long beak. At times, he also played with the tennis ball. Harold stayed there for 12 years, probably the longest from all the animals of grandfather's zoo. Harold loved rain, and before the arrival of rain, he would squeak and dance in his cage. Harold never drank water, but the sight of rain was not less than a paradise to him. He was quite decent among all pets. He misbehaved only once. It was when he took the cigar from one of the guests' hand. Even grandmother loved him. Later in life, Ruskin missed Harold and wished he got summer showers in the paradise and a lot of tennis balls to play with. It's very nice story of a bird, and the way it touches our heart is something unusual in animal stories. Ruskin has penned down this story like a true bird lover. Children of all kind will surely love it. Now let's discuss the comprehension part of the text. Comprehension A. Tick the correct options. First one. Harold's father built an enclosure of dash in a tree trunk for Harold's mother. You can tick the option B. Second one. When the author says, in his naked boyhood, Harold was no beauty, he meant that dash. You can tick the option B. Third one. The enclosure in the veranda was not required after a while because the answer is option B. You can tick option B. Comprehension B. Read the sentences and answer the questions. As he grew bigger, the room became more cramped. Question A. Who grew bigger? The answer: Harold grew bigger. Question B. Who built the room and how? Answer: Harold's father built the room in the hollow of a tree trunk, which he closed with a wall made of earth, sticks, and dung. Question C. What was the purpose of the room? Answer: The room was built so that Harold's mother could lay an egg and Harold could be born. Second one. One afternoon, he was awakened from his siesta by a loud thumping on the wall, a sound quite different from that made by his parents. Question A. Who was awakened? The answer is: Harold was awakened. Question B. Who had disturbed him? Answer: A civet cat had disturbed him. Question C. Describe the one who awakened him. Answer: A civet cat was large, yellow, and furry. Third one. Grandfather and I took over the duties of his parents. Question A. Why did the narrator and his grandfather take on the duties of Harold's parents? Answer: Harold was still young when the narrator and his grandfather found him. Also, Harold had been injured when he tumbled out of the tree hollow. The narrator and his grandfather took on the duties of Harold's parents so that Harold could survive and grow strong. Question B. What were these duties? Answer: The duties were to provide Harold with shelter and food. Question C. Did Harold accept them as his parents? Answer: Harold was nervous around them at the beginning, but soon got used to them and accepted them as his parents. Fourth one. He was willing even to share his food with us. Question A. Who was willing to share his food and with whom? Answer: Harold was willing to share his food with the narrator and his grandfather. Question B. What food did he share with the narrator? Answer: Harold offered the narrator beetles and other insects. Question C. What food did he like? Answer: Harold liked fruits, insects, green leaves, dates, and rice balls. Fifth one. His chuckle would change to an eerie whistle. Question A. When did Harold chuckle? Answer: Harold chuckled an hour before it began to rain. Question B. When did his chuckle change to a whistle? Answer: Harold's chuckle changed to a whistle when storm clouds gathered and the wind blew strong. Question C. Did Harold's whistle indicate excitement or a warning? Answer: Harold's whistle indicated excitement. Comprehension C. Answer these questions. First one. Describe the nest in which Harold was born. Answer: Harold's nest was in the hollow of a tree trunk. It was closed by a wall made of earth, sticks, and dung. Second one. Why did Harold fall out of his nest? Answer: Harold fell out of his nest in the midst of a fight between his parents and a civet cat who had broken the wall of his room. Third one. How did Harold improve his appearance periodically? Answer. Harold had a rough pot on his person which he used regularly. The rich yellow fluid that the rough pot produced was used by Harold to rub all over his feathers and the back of his neck. Question number 4. Describe the way Harold ate the rice balls the narrator threw towards him. Answer. Harold would use his beak to catch the rice balls that the narrator threw towards him and toss them in the air and let them drop into his open mouth. Fifth question. Which habit of Harold irritated Aunt Robbie? Answer. Harold used to start chuckling an hour before it began to rain. Aunt Robbie was always getting caught in the rain and so found this habit irritating. Dear children, you can correct the spelling mistakes of your answers checking with this answer key.